Okay, can you see the screen? I've just shared. Can anybody please confirm if they can see the screen? Yes. Thank you. Thank you guys for confirmation. Thank you very much. All right. So now I don't know if there are new people also joining. So just for the new ones they who have joined today, guys. So this was a free testing class wherein we are going to giving the overview of the manual testing, overview of the automation testing, which is Selenium with Java, and then SQL, and then some API testing overview as well. This is what we are going to cover it in 10 days class. 1 hour classes every day, and yes, we are going to issue a completion certificate from Infinas Learning Solutions. All right, so we have done 3 classes so far, and we plan to cover all of the classes. And don't worry if the classes are not being taken for whatever reasons, we are going to cover it up. Okay, so in the past classes we have covered introduction to software testing, testing principles, skills for testing, SDLC, STLC. We covered types of software. We covered levels of software testing. Does anybody remember level of software testing? If anybody remembers, just type in quickly. I'm just giving a little hint. There are four levels of software testing. 4 levels of software testing. Anybody remembers? Perfect. That's only one. Malab, that's only one. The one that you have mentioned is only unit. We have 4 levels of testing. Yes. Unit, correct. Unit, integration, and no, after integration and before UAT, we have one more level. We have one more level that is called as what? Unit, integration, system testing, which is also called as SIT, guys, and then UAT. All right, is system integration, system testing, and UAT, which is the user acceptance testing. We are generally involved in SIT. What we as a tester, what we are into, we are generally into user we are generally into system integration testing. All right, and then we learned about the software types of testing, where we studied about what all studied. Did we study about types of testing? We studied about manual testing. We studied about automation testing. We studied about white box, black box, gray box. We studied also about all these testing. Did we also study about regression testing? That is also a type of testing. Uh, so I will just little bit explain you what is a regression testing. That is also an important testing to understand. Okay, so regression testing is something that is done. Suppose if you have your suppose if we have a functionality ready. So if we have a functionality ready with us, and then what happens is we test this much part. Okay, so suppose we test this part, and this is the part which is before this, and this is the part which is after this. Means आप एक पेज टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, उसके पहले का पेज ये है और उसके बाद का पेज यहाँ पर है. ठीक है, और आप पेज टेस्ट करते करते ना आपको कुछ डिफेक्ट्स मिले. Now you have encountered few defects while you were testing one page or one functionality. Now you tell the developer that, hello, this is not working. Can you fix it? Developer says, fine, we will fix it. And the developer fixes it and then tells us to the tester that this is now fixed. Can you retest it? What do? We retest that. And when we retest it, we also try to test this part and also this part, which is when there was no defect in that, area, but still we are testing that. Why we testing that? To ensure that the fix that has been deployed is not breaking the existing functionality. This is a very important line when we say that why do we do a regression testing? We do regression testing to ensure that the fix that has been done has not broken the existing functionality, and that is working properly, that is working as expected. And this is why we do a regression testing, to ensure that whatever fixes has been done in this past or in today or yesterday, that is not impacting the existing functionality that was already working as expected before. So when we try to do this, we call it as a regression testing, and a regression testing is a crucial. Any application that we do, that we test, once we do the system integration testing, it is mandatory to do a regression testing. It is very important to do a regression testing to gain the confidence that your overall system is now working properly after the defects has been fixed. So you raised somewhere around 10-20 defects in an whole application, and all those 10-20 defects are fixed. Then you identify few regression tests. Then you identify few regression tests that what can be impacted, and few important tests, few end-to-end tests. And you do those few regression tests, and then you say, now I'm confident that the system is working as expected. Am I clear, guys? So this is what was the types of software testing, apart from the manual, apart from the black box system, integration, performance. We studied those performance testing, we studied load testing, we studied usability testing, we studied compatibility testing. We studied all those testing which were the part of the non-functional testing. This is also a part of a testing which is a regression testing. Okay. Now let's move on to the to day 4. Okay, day 4. All right. So we have covered up till this much. We have covered up till this much, and today we are gonna test this. We are gonna study models. We are going to study SDLC model, and there are two models which we are going to cover in this class today. One is the SDLC model, and another is the VNV model, which is the verification and the validation model. Okay. In between, if you have any questions, please ask me. All right, SDLC, waterfall, and VNV model. Yes. So uh, guys, SDLC model is something which is very similar to our SDLC model. So when people say that this is an SDLC model, what is an SDLC model or what is a waterfall model, they both are pretty much the same. Waterfall model and the SDLC model is little bit same, wherein in waterfall model, what happens is it's a kind of a waterfall model wherein you cannot go to the step number 3 until and unless you have completed the step number 1. All right, meaning until and unless I say that my requirements are completed, I cannot move on to the designing phase. I can't do designing. मैं जब तक requirements final नहीं होंगी, तब तक मैं designing पे नहीं आऊंगी. जब तक मेरा requirements freeze नहीं हुआ, what do we say to that? We say that requirements are now freezed, and now I am moving to the designing part. Now I'm doing what? I'm moving on to the designing part. Now when the designing is completed, then I move on to the coding part. When the coding is finished, then I move on to the testing part. When the testing is finished, then I do the deployment. I cannot do anything simultaneously. I cannot do anything simultaneously. So this is, you can say there is a drawback also in the waterfall model. The drawback is, suppose you are into a designing phase and the customer thinks, oh my God, I just remember one requirement which was very important and I want this anyhow. Now you have to again go back to requirement step, and every process, your all model starts from this phase then. Your entire model starts from requirement phase. All right, your entire, so there's a problem. You know what? So I don't know if you all have heard the word agile. Because of this model, people started working in agile, which gives a much more flexibility, which gives us a lot of flexibility to incorporate the last minute changes that might come into customers mind, or that might come into the developers mind or the testers mind. We can just incorporate those changes into the in our application or into the software or into the project, whereas the waterfall model does not give this kind of flexibility. Until and unless one phase is completely completed, you cannot move on to the next phase, and the steps are same, the one that we studied in SDLC: requirement analysis, designing, coding, testing, deployment, maintenance. Simple. All right. Any questions in this, or we else move on to the VNV model? This one. Any questions, guys, on this? Okay, very good. No questions. Very nice. So I assume everybody is understanding what we are discussing here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to type in and I will be happy to answer them. All right. Now V and V is simple. What do we call as V and V? V and V stands for. What does the V and V stands for? V and V stands for verification and validation. V and V stands for verification and validation. Okay. Now verification is something you might say, ma'am, verification and validations are quite similar. It means the same. But when we talk about the life cycles, or when we talk in the terms of model, then verification has a different meaning and validation has a different meaning. Okay. Verification is something that you are trying to build something. You're trying to build something. Validation is, you know what, validation is something that you're trying to check. You're trying to test. Validation is something that you're trying to test, that whatever has been done in the verification phase, is that correct. You are validating all the things that has already been developed in the verification phase. Okay, so see, this is how it looks like. Let's look at the diagram. Let's look at the diagram, guys. So this is how it looks. V and V. So here, see, every step has a validation associated with it. When you're doing a low level designing, what phase will come? At that time, unit testing will come up. High level designing, integration testing will come up. Where do we stand? We stand here. We stand here. And what do we verify with? We verify with the system requirement documents and the BRD. And this is what we do. And this last step, acceptance. So what does user do? User will simply take its BRD and validate it against it, that this was my business requirement. I had also said that UAT, or the acceptance testing, the idea of acceptance testing is not to find defects. The idea of acceptance testing is to test whether the business requirements are meeting or not. Whether, if I'm talking about in the terms of IRCTC, whether the user is able to book a ticket or not. He might not try to break anything. He might not try to enter, if the date format is DDMMYYY, he will not try to test that, okay, let me test MMDDYYY if it is working or not. He will try to check whether the original DDMMYYY is working or not. He will try to check mostly all the positive scenarios, whether my requirement is getting fulfilled or not. Okay, so validation is something to check whether we have delivered the right product. ठीक है, verification क्या है? I'm just going to write a simple English sentence which you are going to I'm just pasting it in our chat box for everybody, and then I will just explain you the meaning. And I would suggest everybody that just keep that two definitions in mind, and then you will be good to go for verification and validation. Okay. Okay. Everybody. Yes, so I'm just typing in. Allow me 2 minutes to type in. Developed the right. All right. So just read this, and does it make any sense? All right. So what does it say? What does it say? It says that what does validation says? Have we developed the product right? Have we developed the product right? Means what? Means what? That whatever product that we are getting, have we developed it right? Means that is it what the customer wanted? The meaning is this. Is it what the customer wanted? And verification is, are we developing the right product? Meaning the steps. Are we in the right path to develop the right product? And this validation will come at the end, that whatever happened in the verification, whatever steps we followed in the verification, is that, is it developed correctly? This is what is the validation. This is what is the validation. Okay. Let me just read this for you, guys. Let me just read this for you. A V model is a highly disciplined SDLC model which has test phase parallel to each development phase, which has a test phase parallel to each development phase, meaning that at every test phase, that at every development phase, there is a test phase that is parallel to it. At every development phase, we are doing a test phase. At every development phase, we are doing a test phase. This is what this line says. The V model is an extension of the waterfall model. When the software development and testing is executed in a sequential way, it is known as the verification or the validation model. This is called the V model. So you need to remember this line that I have pasted here, plus this diagram which talks about the parallel testing happening to each and every development phase. This is the VNV model, and SDLC we already have discussed. Okay. And now we are going to do what I think we have covered. Let's see what is there in the topic. Is it this one? Bug defect life cycle. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's pick up one more topic today that we are going to discuss, which is testing document. Let's study about this one today. Yeah. So the next slide that talks about is the testing documentation. Okay. Here, yeah, we have done this. We have completed the SDLC model. We have done this. Let us talk about not exactly test case document. Let's talk about testing documents. What all documents we have into testing? What all documents we create into testing? Let's talk about all that. Does anybody has any idea what all documents we need into testing? Do we have idea, guys, that what all documents we need into testing? No. All right. No problem. Let's understand. Let's understand. So see, this is what I have made for everybody to have an easy understanding. That in the center, this is something called as a testing documentation. And now I'm also going to write the sequence. Now, guys, see the first sequence that we are going to have is this one, test plan. Test plan. The first sequence that we prepare in the testing is test plan. You remember, guys, the testing life cycle. First phase was what? Requirement analysis. Second phase was test plan. So the first testing document that we are going to prepare is the test plan. What document we are going to prepare? If you want to write, you can just write it with me. I'm just typing and I'll just send it in couple of minutes. Okay. So the test plan is the first document that I'm going to write. Now, second one will be the test scenarios. Second one will be test scenarios. Third one will be test cases. Fourth one will be what? Can anybody tell me fourth one? I'm just typing in. If you want, you can tell me the sequence. I'll see if anybody is able to answer the correct sequence. After looking at this flower kind of a diagram, if anybody can tell me the exact sequence, we will be happy to see that. Then test data. Can anybody tell me what is the correct sequence? We are going to discuss this anyways. Which cycle we are now working into test documentation cycle that we already explained was the testing software testing life cycle. Testing documents, correct? But I'm asking what is the sequence of the testing documents that we create? Okay. Test data. Okay. Then I'm not writing any question, guys. I'm not writing. I'm just asking that looking at this diagram, can you guys tell me what is the sequence? These are all the documentation that you need to prepare while doing a testing. So you know what? We need to have a sequence. हम कोई भी डॉक्यूमेंट कभी भी नहीं प्रोड्यूस करेंगे. हर एक स्टेप में हमें एक एक डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोड्यूस करना पड़ता है टेस्टिंग में. ठीक है. तो वो प्रोसेस होता है कि आप टेस्टिंग में कौन सी प्रोसेस से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, फिर कौन सा प्रोसेस, फिर कौन सा प्रोसेस. सो दिस इज व्हाट इट इज. ठीक है. The all right. So everybody, now you know what we are going to do is we are going to all right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to explain. This is the documentation that you require while you're doing a testing. This is the document that you require while doing a testing. Means suppose if I have to start a testing, my first document will be test strategy or test plan. Either of them. You don't need to prepare both. ठीक है. आपने दोनों नहीं बनाना है. या तो हम टेस्ट स्ट्रेटेजी बनाएंगे या टेस्ट प्लान. आप देखिए मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है टेस्ट स्ट्रेटेजी और टेस्ट प्लान. But sometimes if the project demands or if the company demands that you have to have both, then this is the first step that you need to create a test strategy and then you need to create a test plan. Once you have created the test plan or the test strategy, we go into test scenarios. This is the second number of document that you are going to prepare. All right, we are going to prepare second number of document that this is the test scenarios that we are going to prepare. All right. Now, what else then? What happens when after test scenarios? Now I will go to test case. I will start writing test cases either in Excel or in any other tool. So the most common tools that we use is the ALM tool and the Jira tool. People also say this Jira. So it is same thing, ALM tool or the Jira or Jira tool. That is we need to, we write our test cases there. So first step is the creating the test plan, test strategy. Second step is creating the test scenarios. Third step is creating the test cases either on Excel or on any tool. After test cases, now what do we do? After test cases, this is an important thing, RTM. In fact, before test case also you can prepare RTM. Yes, I have written this before. Sometimes RTM and test cases are written together. What is an RTM? requirement traceability matrix. What is an RTM, guys? It is requirement traceability matrix. Now, what is the meaning of requirement traceability matrix? And try to understand. I have a requirement. Requirement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, when you write a test scenario or when you write a test case, you need to enter a column called as RTM, which is called as requirement traceability matrix. And there you write all the requirements. Requirement number 1.1, requirement number 1.2, requirement number 1.3, till the time your requirements are not completely covered. Once your requirements are all completely covered, then you map a test case to this. So my requirement number 1.1 maps to my test case number 2. My requirement number 1.3 maps onto the test case number 5. Like this, you do a mapping of a requirement to the test case. That is what traceability. You know, remember the word focus. The focus is on the word traceability. That you are able to trace all the requirements. What we are able to do, we are able to trace all the requirements, and any requirement is not missed. If ever you get a question in an interview, what is an RTM? Do you do an RTM? Your answer should be yes. RTM is a critical thing to do in testing, and we do RTM because it ensures that none of the requirements are missing and all the requirements are getting mapped to my test cases. That is called what? That is called a requirement traceability matrix. Now you have done with the requirement traceability matrix. Now what do you prepare? You start writing the test cases. After test cases, what do you do? How will you execute a test case until unless you have a data? So you now work on the test data. Test data is another important thing, which needs a test environment wherein you can create your test data. Sometimes the test data can be created by the testers. Sometimes there is a joint effort that the test data is being created with the help of a developers, with the help of the data team, with the help of the environment teams, and so on. But the test data is crucial. Otherwise, you cannot rely on the testing. And the test data should be close, as close to your production. जैसा रियल में डेटा होता है ना, जैसा रियल में हम डेटा लेते हैं ना, same data we need to take. Same data we need to pick up while we are creating our own test data for testing. Now test data is created. Now I will start my execution. Execution means actual testing. Actual testing means comparing the actual result with the expected result. And then you publish this test execution report. Then you publish this test execution report. Once you have completed the test execution report, you also have to log defects. What you have to do? Log defects. So again, logging defects can be done in Excel or in a tool. In Excel or in tools. What tools we are going to use? We are going to use ALM tool, Jira tool, and sometimes company has their own tool that they say, okay, you need to use this tool only to log the defect. You need to use this tool only to log the defects. Okay, the company sometimes say that, okay, use a my tool to log a defect. So that is what you can log a defect. Now, when you log a defect, you need to report that defect. What you need to do? When you log a defect, you need to report that defect. So that is called a bug reporting. That is called what? Bug reporting. Bug and defect are the same thing. That is called a bug reporting. All right, so you have that bug reporting, and then last thing will be your test closure. Last thing is what? Test closure. What will test closure tell? Test closure will talk about the entire history of what you have done. Entire history of what you have done, as in when did you start your testing, when did you finish your testing, what all defects did you find, how many test cases did you execute, how long did it take for you to execute, and so on. Your entire history of the testing needs to be mentioned in the test closure. You also need to mention the lessons learned. Lessons learned in the testing while in the test closure. Why? Because it will help you for the next project. Suppose my this project testing is completed and I will now move on to the next project. So my lessons learned from this project will be helpful for my new project. If the mistakes that I did will not be repeated in my next project. That is what we do in the lessons learned. So this is the entire process of testing. And if you guys understand each and every document part clearly, then there is no way that you cannot be selected for an interview. Or if you answer any questions related to any of these documents, there is no way that you will be rejected in an interview or so. Okay, am I clear, everybody? Did you understand what I'm trying to explain? Yeah, okay. Yes. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? The entire test documentation, test strategy is something that will test the test strategy. I'll just simply say one word, which is related to test strategy, is how you are going to test. When anybody asks you what is a test strategy, the word how should come to you. How you are going to test this, how you are going to create the data, how you are going to do RTM. Everything related to how will go into test strategy. And test planning is something which will talk about what also, what you are going to test, what is the timeline that you're going to put. That will all things come into the test plan. Test strategy is a high level document. It is a high level doc, and test plan is a little lower level. Lower level means it will have minute details also. Okay, okay guys, any questions related to this documentation, that what does this document mean, what does that document mean? Ma'am, the what are the contents of the documents? Yes, guys. So the contents of each and every document is covered in our advanced classes for testing, because that is where each document contains somewhere around document is of somewhere around 20-25 pages, and a lot of sections are there. So in an overview class, it's not possible to complete all that sections. So we have an advanced class wherein we discuss each and every document in detail, that what it talks about and how to write that document. If somebody asks you that how can you write a document, prepare a report, prepare a test execution report, prepare a bug report, then that is all done in the advanced classes of testing, wherein we run a project and then we create those documents live to explain to the candidates that how we can do that. So that is in the advanced classes. Okay, what else? What else do you think that you have not understood about the document or any of the past classes? Is it something that you want me to explain again? Yes, guys. So the people who are asking about the advanced classes, so the batches are starting from this Monday. So today is Friday. So the next batch is starting on 24th of April. Okay. Yeah. So the next classes start from 24th of April, and the classes are for 1.5 months to 2 months, depending on the candidates. Uh, Availability plus the speed that the candidate learns in, and so on. So the range of the class is between 1.5 to 2 months. All right, 1 hour every day. So this is what we this is what we have studied today. So tomorrow, you know what, I'm planning to cover this. So we are planning to do this testing techniques tomorrow. That what testing techniques you're going to use. We are going to learn about this testing techniques, a very important technique that we are going to learn tomorrow. All right. So if I am here for maybe 7 minutes more. If you have any questions, please type in. See, I've kept on asking. If you have any questions, please type in. Please type in and ask. Do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. So I do not take the names of any candidate that is asking me questions. You might not think that this is a silly question. So it's very good for you to ask silly questions and not be silly after the questions has been answered. Right. So just ask as many questions as possible what you have not understood, and I will be happy to answer. And I myself have asked a lot of silly questions when I was learning, and I still ask and I still do not hesitate. So if there is anything that you haven't understood or you want more details, something like that, please feel free to ask. And tomorrow we are going to cover this part, testing technique. Selenium is also included. Selenium and SQL is also included, guys. In advanced classes, Selenium is also included. Yes, it is. It is. So tomorrow we are going to study test. Yes, in Selenium, how Selenium do we have knowledge on? Do you have to knowledge on Java, or you are asking that will Java training be given? What is it that you are asking? Is it asking? Are you asking that you need to know Java? Then no, you don't need to know Java. And if you are asking that will Java training be provided, then yes. When I say Selenium with Java, we are going to start from the basics of Selenium, of basics of Java, absolutely basics. So if you don't know, not a problem. And if you're asking that are you going to cover Java, the answer is yes, we are going to cover Java. Okay? Yes. Yeah. So that's all live classes that we have with projects experience as well. The ones that we have, it will have a project experience as well, plus the hands-on experience, I would say. All right. All right. So if there are no questions, then I would see you tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice rest of the evening and see you guys tomorrow. Take care and do learn something and come back and ask me questions. Bye bye. Bye bye.